like, do what I should, like, point, like, do what I could, like, point, like, do what I should, like.
There are three things I like in this world.
Like, do what I should,
Alright, it's time to get out of here.
point, like, do what I could, like, point.
I made $66,700 in July 2024 and I was on holiday for 2 weeks. In this longer format vlog, I'm sharing everything I did in July as a solo entrepreneur who is not ambitious and build 24 tiny startups. But first, I need to... Holidays are great, but I need to go back to the office. In case it wasn't obvious that I'm French.
I be like fuck it, at the same time I don't say fuck it. Now look what I'm stuck with. Don't care if I'm in the wrong. I don't get upset, don't care if you.
On July 3rd, I did a podcast with Startup Story. It's a big YouTube channel that tells successful entrepreneur stories and how they got started. The founder, Pat Walls, is awesome. We had a great time. And if the interview is available, I'll add the link in the description. And it's crazy to think that 2 years ago, I was a random guy in my room. Well, I still am, but now I end up on those podcasts where I get a chance to tell my story, those same podcasts that I used to listen to get inspired and get motivated. And all it took was building the right startup. And since Startup Story is based in the US and I live in Bali, they sent someone like a professional with videography guy who came to my house to shoot that interview, and that guy became the person who is editing those videos. Hey.
Yo, I'm out here on the road. You can hear it in the voice. Still get that. Look. The money speaking for itself, I call it fortune tell. 5 top from a that work in corporate sales. Chinchilla Ushanka, we skiing out in Courchevel. Breaking news, they try to kill him, but the boy prevails.
Everybody's sleeping out there, and I found my little office. Joke aside, the entire Evire crew is so friendly. They just set up the entire space for me, and everybody was so up to it. Alright, so in November 2022, I built GamifyList. It's a little directory of gamified apps. It has around 600 apps that help people achieve their goals using gamification. And I built it just because, first, it's fun, and second, because I also owned a habit tracker that's gamified, and I wanted to build some kind of side project to promote my habit tracker. And the directory of gamification apps is the perfect place to do that, but there's some turbulences. It's a moving, shaking office. Back then, I had zero clue about SEO, and Google started to index and rank some of those pages. And fast forward to today, there is a constant growth in terms of impression and clicks, and it brings around 100 clicks per day. And somewhere in July, I saw this app called Pokemon Sleep. It's making 100 million in profit per year. It's just an app that lets you grow Pokemons if you sleep well. And I love the app, that's why I added it to my repository this month. If you've been watching my previous videos, I'm looking for some kind of software where I can spend my entire day adding features. And I hope to bring that software to $1 million valuation. I already have the idea in mind, and I cannot reveal exactly what it's gonna do because I get a bunch of copycats, but I already have an idea in mind that I've already started building. And earlier this month, I run a design bounty on Twitter because I was struggling with a specific part of the UI for that application. A design bounty, it's basically an open contest where every designer can submit their creation and the winner receives some kind of financial reward. It was the first time for me to do that on Twitter, and I found a design that I really liked, so now I'm just coding that software, and I think I should be able to launch a first version by the end of the next month. One of the biggest struggle and the biggest shift for July was my YouTube channel. If you've watched some others of my videos, you'll see that in July, I've made a big change in terms of how I tell the stories. I'm not sitting at my desk anymore, I'm traveling, I'm doing some workouts, I'm wrapping those business and coding stories around lifestyle stories, just like this vlog. And I'm having 3 times more fun shooting those videos, and YouTube is giving 3 times less impression. It's not that I'm doing those for the numbers, but it's somehow what keeps me motivated to make those videos, and at the same time, I'd like to have an impact. So if YouTube is pushing my videos to more people, then that just makes me happy. And so I'm trying to find a good mix of what's valuable and what's fun. My channel went from 5,000 to somewhere around 70,000 subscribers in the span of 2 to 3 months. And it was mostly because of 3 videos: how many websites I made, my tech stack, and how fast I launched a SaaS. These are great videos, I enjoyed doing them, but the problem is that I cannot replicate that all the time. So I can milk the entire story over and over, but you deserve much better than that, and it's kind of boring, to be honest. That's why I'm trying to round those business story inside of a lifestyle vlog, so it's kind of fun, new and different. But YouTube is a mirror of what people think, and since it's not giving much impression, I also kind of assume that it's a little bit boring. And this is pretty much where I am stuck at the moment. I don't know if I should follow the number and keep doing the same videos that worked well on my channel so far, or if I should just follow my instinct, have fun and make more of those videos. And I also shipped a new feature for my software called IndiePage. It's a link in bio for entrepreneurs. Customers can add their startups and connect with their payment provider so that they get a public page with a verified revenue. And a few months ago, I added a leaderboard where those startups are ranked based on the revenue in the last 30 days. And I wanted to go a little further, so I created a Twitter bot that every week shares the leaderboard for the past 7 days. It also tagged the person, and on top of that, it tweets 3 times per day when a maker is receiving a payment. So if you want your daily dose of motivation, I would add a link of the Twitter bot in the description. This is the craziest setup I've ever done, I think. 2 hours transit in Taipei. There are 3 things I like in this world: building startups, surfing, and skating in the airport. My penny board not loaded. Okay. Bye.
But you got no confidence like me. Really wanna run around and chase me. I'm not no Travis, baby, not no chase me. I work too hard, can you fucking pay me? I did so much.
Alright, let's talk about revenue. Alright, so this is the revenue breakdown for all of my tiny project for the month of July 2024. And the revenue is down around 24% compared to June 2024. And it was kind of expected because I was off on a holiday for 2 weeks. I was actually a little surprised it didn't drop more than that because I was completely off for half of the month, which shows that I probably don't understand much in business yet. Talking about holidays.
Oh, the burning pain, listening to you heart pump out some
This is my little YouTube studio for the next couple of seconds because my front neighbor think I'm doing something illegal by whispering to this microphone. Alright, so talking about holidays, I went back to my hometown in France for 3 weeks. I usually never take time off because I love building stuff, but I make a little exception for summertime. With my entire family, we went to the south of France and we did some surfing, cycling and hiking. And this is usually how I get good startups idea when my brain is rested. That's exactly how I came up with my startup that's bringing the most revenue. Then I went back to Paris. I didn't see the Olympics, but it was a fun, exotic vibe because all the Parisians were gone and only tourists were in Paris. Alright, it's time to get out of here before the cabin crew opens the door.
Ryan Little.
Home. Just landed in Bali. Alright, the final updates for this month is that I added a tiny feature to Zenvoice. It's a tool to avoid customers to pay the 0.4% fee to generate Stripe invoices. And as I'm getting more customers, I'm also getting more feedback. And one of them was to add the name of the VAT next to the rate of the VAT. For instance, in France, we have to add VAT next to the percentage. The more customers I get, the more I realize that the entire invoicing system is very complex, especially in Europe where each country has specifications. And if I want to make these invoices compliant in most countries, I need to cover lots of use cases. And my code is starting to look very... I had to recreate my entire invoicing object based on where I get the data from Stripe, whether it's a checkout or whether it's a payment intent. There are so many use cases that I'm getting around 1,000 lines of code just to create an invoice. Financially wise, it does not make sense for me to invest my time on this startup, but I still do it because A, that's how I save money on the Stripe fees because I use my own product. 2, because I'm also learning a lot about the entire invoicing system, which is pretty complex and interesting. And 3, because maybe by getting customer feedback, I'll land on some kind of a new feature or a new product that can be an entire startup that makes way more money. I am a big fan of Brian Johnson, the vampire guy. I invested a little bit of my profit into health. I like Brian, I like his fight, and I like how committed he is. He's using his own product, and it kind of reminds me of what I do with my own little startups. On a much smaller scale though. And now that I'm back in Bali, I really need to do that. Back to the office.